so it is 6:00 p.m. We'll give about 1 or 2 more minutes for those who are logging on to get connected, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you to everyone who has joined and who's on time at 6:00. But like I said, I understand that some people are just getting off work, just getting in the house, getting settled. So we'll give everyone a couple of more minutes, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Hello, can you hear me? I can't hear.
Can you hear us now, Ms. Townsend?
Yes, I can.
Okay. We're giving everyone a couple of minutes because we know parents are just getting off work, so we're giving about another minutes to get settled, and we're going to get started at 6:03. And it's 6:03. So we'll go ahead and get started. For those who joined on time, we definitely don't want to prolong your evening. I know a lot of parents have meals to cook and homework to assist students with, so we want to take advantage of the few moments that we have you, but we want to respect your time. Before I begin, I just want to, of course, welcome you tonight to our community conversation where we discuss attendance. Attendance is going to be our priority tonight. Before we begin, as always, I want to introduce and acknowledge my board members. I have Ms. Emma Golden, Vice President of the board. She's on the call, as well as Ms. Melanie Townsend Blackman. She's our board secretary. I'm so appreciative of their support. They were just on a call the day before yesterday, and they're on another one tonight. So I really, really appreciate them and appreciate their support. The purpose of this meeting, of course, as I just briefly stated, is to reiterate the importance of attendance, the importance of making sure your children are logging on to their classes, to their courses every single day. And I know we've preached this, principals have preached it, but you're going to hear from somebody who's a bit more powerful than us tonight. And I'm so excited to introduce her shortly. We're also going to provide you some updates on attendance, and we're going to introduce to you our new attendance plan. Normally I do a lot of the speaking, but I know you all are sick of hearing my voice. So tonight I won't be speaking much. I'm going to lead into our most illustrious guest speaker tonight. It is Judge Deborah Giles. She is one of our district partners, and we are so thankful for all the support and encouragement and information that she provides to us. Judge Giles is not a judge that just talks the talk. She literally walks the walk. She calls us with recommendations, suggestions. Anytime we have questions about anything, we can always call her, and she's willing to jump on a call with us. She makes herself available to myself, my staff, to the parents and the students. And I think the thing that I love most about Judge Giles, as brilliant as she is down, she's just a down home girl. She tells it like it needs to be told, but in a way that we can all understand it. So I'm so appreciative of her being here tonight. So at this time, Judge Giles, I'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. As always, it is great working with you and your entire staff with the Sunflower County Consolidated School District. We are so appreciative of the board members who are here and the considerable amount of work that you all do in educating our youth. Again, I am so thankful for this opportunity to just be available to share some information with you all. As we were getting on the call, I was sharing with Superintendent Davis, one of the reasons I push education so hard is that neither of my parents had the opportunity to graduate high school because they had familial obligations. They were working to support their own family to make things work. One of the things I pride myself is that my father was the oldest of 12. And when his mother was sick and his father passed away, he was left to raise all of his siblings. So he didn't have the opportunity to get an education or get a high school diploma. But what was so significant about growing up with my parents is that something that they demanded, they required. It wasn't an option. And so the running joke in my family, I kind of went a little bit overboard when it came to getting the degrees. But I'm so thankful for this opportunity and the drive and that my parents instilled in me as well as my siblings. And I do that now with my nieces, my great nieces and nephews, as well as to all the youth that I serve here in Sunflower as well as Humphreys County. While we're here, and I think that's the most important part of why we've come to talk to you about school attendance. We are in the midst of a pandemic. So learning is a little bit different. We're all having to adjust. We're having to make adjustments with the court system. I know children are tired of sitting in front of a computer most of the day, but just know that you're not by yourself. The court has to, a lot of times, sit in front of a computer, do a Zoom, and we have to put in a lot more equipment in order just to conduct our court hearings. And we can't just be at home. So I know it's taxing, I know it's tiring, but it's so important. And we have looked at the mandates from the Mississippi Department of Education. So it is important. Parents, I know it's taxing, I know it's tiring, but your children must be on those Zooms in class 63% of the time. That is not an option. If they are not, and I'm telling you things that are guided by statute. Everybody knows that if you come and talk to me, one of the first questions I'm going to ask, is it statutory? If it doesn't follow the statute, if the legislator did not hand it down where I'm required as a judge to enforce it, then I'm not going to deal with it. But school attendance is statutory. According to state law, and I just want to cite some things for you. Mississippi Code Annotated 37-1391 talks about truancy. Any child between the ages of 16 and 17 must be in school. You can only have 12 unexcused absences within a 180-day time period. That's period. That's statute. If you do not, you're truant. What does that mean? That means that the child comes before the court. That child will have to deal with the court. It could be probation. I believe in community service. You can have community service. You can be made to sit in my office or my courtroom and do your homework. We're trying to come up with creative ways to make sure our children are doing what they're supposed to do. But what does that mean for a parent? Parent, if your child is not in attendance, oftentimes the truancy officers will submit a complaint to justice court, and you can be held liable under 97.5 Mississippi Code annotated 97.539. It means that you're contributing to the neglect of a child. So the justice court can deal with you, but also the youth court can deal with you. That your child can be adjudicated by the court as a child in need of supervision because that child has been educationally neglected. What does that mean? That means parents, I can fine you, or you can be made or ordered to sit in jail. So that's why it is so important. We're coming up with creative ways to make sure that children are on those Zoom meetings and in class for 63% or more of the time. Now, I know everybody hears from the school district as to why that is so important. It's important because that's where your dollars come from. If you want better schools, if you want better equipment, if you want better infrastructure in your school system, send your children to school. That's the way to tell the state of Mississippi, we need better schools. We need better infrastructure. If you send your children to school, that's how we get it, because they're there, they're learning. But if they're not, then they have to deal with the ramifications. And that means coming through the court, the youth court, or justice court. And I don't like to see kids come in my courtroom on a truancy. There's no reason that any child should have 12 unexcused absences. Even if your child has medical issues, there are accommodations. That's why we have Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and I am an advocate of it. Those things are in place, those structures are in place to help if your child has medical issues where they can't do certain things. But what I need for you to understand, all of that requires documentation. Parents, if you have not enrolled your children in school, you are really, really late. They're supposed to be enrolled in school. Some parents say, well, I'm going to homeschool my children. I'm going to send them to a non-public program. Parents, that's fine. You have every right to do that. But you have to provide the school district with that appropriate documentation. In a court proceeding, evidence, documentation is so important. So if you come to our court and you end up providing that, that's great. But why put yourself in a position of coming to court when you could just provide that information on the back end or on the front end of this situation? So again, I cannot stress the importance of enrollment, the importance of providing documentation to the school district. They're not being mean. They're not being hard. These are state laws. And we're required, the court is required to make sure that those laws are enforced. Because parents, you could be considered as a individual who has neglected your child by not having your child enrolled in school. We hear a lot of times where parents say, well, he's of age or she's of age to get on. Parents, follow up. That is so important. Kids will tell you all the time, well, I was doing this, I was doing that. Follow up. The teachers are there. The school district is there to answer your questions. And it's a way for them to know whether your child is in school or not. Let me also say, there is city ordinances. I'm for certain there's one here in Indianola. If children are not in place learning on Zoom, but they're out and about, they've not only violated their attendance in school, but they have also violated city ordinance because they are not to be out during school times, out and about in the street. And these ordinances have had to be enacted because we are in the midst of the pandemic and we want our children in school. We want our children learning. This court is going to do everything that it can within its power to continue our partnership with the Sunflower County Consolidated School District to help to educate our children, to improve our educational system, and just have some really smart kids to grow up to be great leaders, because we know that every child in our school system has the capability of learning. We know that they all can go on to do great things. There are so many individuals who are products of Indianola who have gone on to do really great things. So we really look forward to continuing our work with Superintendent Davis and all of her staff. I know there are some members who are on tonight with my staff. If you have any questions or need any additional information, you're more than welcome to contact Kathleen McClain, who is the Youth Intake Officer for Sunflower County. Her number is 662-887-7424. Or if you have any questions, any other additional questions and you can't get in touch with Ms. McClain, my office number is 662-887-7070. Parents, do not be mad if my court administrator says, no, you cannot speak directly to judge. That means because I cannot hear or have a conversation with a party prior to the court proceedings. So we're not being mean in any way, but we want to keep that impartiality within our court system. But if you have any questions, my court administrator, Kimberly Williams, we would be more than happy to direct you to the appropriate persons. So I thank you again, Superintendent Davis, for this opportunity, and we look forward to continuing to work with you.
Thank you so much again, Judge Giles. Thank you so much. And Judge Giles just gave so much pertinent information in that short period of time. And one thing, parents, I hope that you picked up on was the number 12. If you listened and if you heard Judge Giles shared, students should have no more than 12 absences for the entire school year. Now, we're just about to go into the third 9 weeks, Judge Giles, and we have students with in excess of 40 absences. So we have a huge problem. Now, mind you, this is a statewide issue, but just because it's a statewide issue doesn't mean that we're going to just sit on our hands and just say it's an issue. We're trying to put systems in place to curb this problem here in Sunflower County Consolidated School District. And parents, if you're not sure if your children are attending class, please call the school. We not only have the capabilities to tell you if your child was absent on a particular day, we can pinpoint it down to the class period that a child was absent. So if you're not sure, if you're leaving to go to work, which we perfectly understand, and you're not sure if your child is getting up or is getting up while you're there and going back to bed, give us a call. We can let you know. Because at the end of the day, we don't want any parent to go to jail, and we don't want any of our children to become products of the justice system. We really don't. And so that's why we're putting systems into place, which is a perfect segue into our next speaker, Mr. William Murphy. He's our Director of Personnel and Student Affairs. Mr. Murphy pretty much deals with all things parents and students. So if it's a parent issue, a student issue, parent complaint, student complaint, 9 times out of 9.5, they're going to filter through Mr. Murphy, and he's going to make sure that it gets taken care of. In addition to, he's pretty much the catch-all for all the other stuff that I don't have time to do. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Murphy, and he's going to talk to you all about the new attendance plan that we're going to put in place to try to curb some of these absences and try to serve as a buffer before it gets to the actual youth court, justice court system. So at this time, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Murphy.
All right, thank you, Superintendent Davis, and good evening, SCCSD stakeholders. Thank you again, Judge Giles, for the time that you've given us and shared some really good information. And so I'm sharing my screen here. It's a new student attendance plan, and we've been working over the last 2 months on putting it together. We've had a team of, we've had teachers, we've had principals, we've had counselors, we've had also our school attendance officer, Ms. Cannon. We've had Judge Giles on calls and her staff. We've even taken feedback that we've gotten from a lot of our parents over the year with complaints about attendance and things that we can tighten up in our own system to try to put a student attendance plan together. And so tonight, I'm just going to go over some of the highlights for you. I'll be really brief and going over some of the highlights of the plan. And we will make sure that after this call and probably tomorrow, we'll try to make sure that this is put on our website and all of our other platforms so that you'll be able to see it as well. Before I get into the plan, Judge Giles did talk a lot about just the importance of attendance and just from a numbers standpoint. And this is from attendanceworks.org. And if you come to my office, you'll see that I keep these 2 signs on my wall. But they say that if a child misses 2 days per month, they are more likely to fail a grade or fall behind. And so 2 days a month, it doesn't sound like much. Well, over the course of a year, that's 18 days. And that's considered being chronically absent. And so, and here's the thing, it doesn't matter if that's excused or unexcused. They just count it as a miss. So if a child just misses 18 days, even if it's doctor's appointments or whatever, it puts them at risk to fall behind and ultimately they could fail a grade. As Superintendent Davis just mentioned, we've come across students that are approaching 40 and 50 and 60. So you can imagine what effect that could be having on their learning, what effect that could be having on them passing to the next grade. And so what we decided to do in our district was put together a plan that for every absence, there are going to be some steps that we take. We partnered again in several entities. And so some of the highlights you'll see in this plan, and I'll try as hard as I can to just scroll up and down a little bit. But one of the biggest things you're going to see is consistent contact through a system that we call AIM. So one of the things that we found in some cases is that when a child was absent, a lot of our schools are contacting parents, but sometimes the contact might come too late. And so through this system, you're going to see contact that happens at least twice a day through that system called AIM. The contact may either be by phone, it may be by text, or it may be it may come through email. The system is going to go through each of the options that are on the child's registration, but the contact is going to come first thing in the morning so that if a child is not shown up, a parent is going to be notified. It's also going to come in the afternoon after school so that a parent will also know that your child either wasn't there the whole day or they didn't stay the whole day. We've seen in some cases students are logging in at the beginning, but then they're not staying or attending all of the classes. This will also help us parents in that it will catch any mistakes. Because if you get that call and you know that your child was at school, then now we can fix that in the system because you can call us back and let us know, wait a minute, my child was there. We can follow up on it and we can correct it. So the first thing you're going to see is every time a child is absent, that system is going to make contact. Teachers may also make contact, secretaries may make contact, and parent liaisons might make contact as well. Another part of this plan that you're going to see is around the 7th unexcused absence. We have partnered again with Judge Giles, and she really did not have to do this, you all. And honestly, I probably couldn't find any other district in the state that's partnered with their local courts to this capacity. But she is even offered at that 7th unexcused absence. When children reach that point, we will send them or we'll refer them to an informal court meeting. Again, this is not the truancy one that comes after 12 absences, but this is just so Judge Giles can speak with parents and students about, attending school, and it's just a catcher to let everyone know that, hey, you are trending in the wrong direction, just kind of a wake up. So that's something that we've implemented with her partnership as well, and she'll do that. I think we originally agreed on about twice a month, one for each end of our district. Another thing that you'll see is at those 5th, 10th, and 12th absences, which is when there are truancy notices issued, our school attendance officer, Mrs. Cannon, is going to contact you and send that formal email. But also as a catch-all from the school, we're going to send from the school end contact through school status. That way, parents, you'll already be notified that, hey, you're probably going to get a letter coming from the school attendance officer. The whole time, of course, if you have excuses or things like that to clear it up, please be making contact with your school offices. And a last major point of our school attendance plan is also, unfortunately, when we get into cases where students miss an overwhelming number of days. So you've heard us say numbers like 30, 40, 50 absences. In some cases, students may just stop showing up for whatever the reason, and it stretches over a month or 2 months. When those absences become so great and there's no contact at all from the parent or guardian, there will be the potential to drop students from the roll altogether. And so that's, again, for those extreme cases where we don't hear from anybody at all, there is a possibility that students can be dropped from the roll and will have to re-enroll in the next month. And so again, this is a plan for us to help curtail the absences as much as possible, but just for us to make sure every step of the way that we are doing something to make sure we notify parents and hopefully solve the problem so that our kids can be in school. We know that virtual learning isn't ideal for everyone. Trust me, our teachers would prefer that students are there, and we all would, just as many as parents do. But for right now, this is the hand that we've been given. And so we want to make sure that as much as possible that we can make sure our kids are there every day, even if it's on virtual. So again, our plan is going to be put on our website and shared through all of our platforms.
Thank you so much, Mr. Murphy. And as he shared, just to reiterate, this plan will be on our social media platforms and our websites tomorrow. We have a principals meeting in the morning with our principals, obviously, and our attendance staff at the schools to go in greater detail and be very, very specific so that everyone will understand the expectations, because this is going to begin Monday, February the 1st, 2021. This will begin at the beginning of our third 9-week period, which begins Monday, February the 1st, 2021. Now, I know you all have heard mention of the school attendance officer, Ms. Ida Cannon. Just so that everyone knows, Ms. Cannon is housed in the district, but she actually works for the Mississippi Department of Education. So this, all these absences are not just being housed here. MDE is aware of how many absences our children are accruing, and to Judge Giles' point, that impacts the amount of money, the amount of funding that the district receives. So Ms. Cannon is our liaison between the State Department. And we had a meeting today, a very, very productive meeting, and it's just so encouraging and heartwarming to see so many different entities pulling together to try to increase attendance in our little school district. To do what's best for our children, because even though we may be a small district, every one of our children are just as important as if we had a district of 15,000 children. And we value every single one of them. Another point that I want to just clarify, in the extreme cases where we have to drop children, we just have to, because that is impacting our average daily attendance. And to Mr. Murphy's point, it's very rare that we have to drop children. I'll give you an example. I was looking at the numbers today. Ms. Velma Hall gave me the list of students who've had to be dropped. And we have about 3,200 students in the district. And as of today, we only have had to drop, I think, maybe 15. So it's not a large number of students, but there are times when we do have to drop children. And these children have in excess of 25, 27, 30, 40 absences. And I see Judge Giles shaking her head, Ms. Black. I mean, that's horrible, but we have to do something. And then parents, if you want to re-enroll your child, you absolutely can do that. You just have to come and make the necessary arrangements and complete registration again. But once they've reached that number, then we're left with no choice. And one last thing I wanted to mention, as Mr. Murphy shared, yes, we contact you with AIMS, our parent liaisons call, our secretaries call, teachers call. But guess what? Everyone can call. President Biden can call. But it only makes a difference if what? Someone's answering the call. So please don't ignore our calls. And we're seeing that so often. Our calls are being ignored. Our number is being blocked to Judge Giles. So please don't block us, because when we're calling about your child. We're not calling trying to sell anything, trying to get anything from you. We're really just calling about your child, and we're worried about the academic achievement of your child. So Essentially that concludes our meeting. I'm going to open the floor, of course, now, as I always do, to see if my board members, Ms. Golden or Ms. Townsend Blackman, have anything that they want to share. And if so, now is the time for you all can unmute, and then you can speak. We'll give Ms. Golden the floor first, Mr. Murphy, and then Ms. Blackman, if they have anything they want to share. So they have to unmute though. Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, are the parents aware that they're not coming on?
Yes, ma'am. We call parent. The schools call every day. If your child is absent Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the parent is going to get a call Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Ms. Blackman.
I just want to say thank you all to the staff at Sunflower County Consolidated School District. Thank you all for what you all are doing, trying to put out to the parents. And I would like to say thanks to Judge Giles for taking out her time to come out to explain to the parents in the community what could happen to their children. Thank you all for a job well done.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Blackman. So if there are no more questions or comments from our guest speaker, Judge Giles, would you like to make any closing comments?
I have one more question, Ms. Davis.
Yes, ma'am.
What about the, thank you, Judge Giles. What about the seniors? How is that looking with the seniors?
What do you mean, Ms. Golden?
The seniors, are they coming? Are they?
I mean, we're having an attendance issue across the board, so I can provide you with specific data at our next board meeting on the specific class levels. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Superintendent Davis, and to your staff and to the board members who are on and who work with our children. Again, the court sincerely thanks you for this opportunity. Again, we continue to look forward to working with you and your staff and working with parents. We all care about the children in this community. We want all of the children in this community to be successful and to achieve what is the desires of their hearts. But we cannot do this alone. This requires a village, and that village starts with the parents. So again, we appreciate you all. And again, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you again, Judge Giles. And just so parents, as we close it out, thank you all for joining in tonight. For those of you who did, this recording will be on our social media sites. Parents, just want to close by saying we will not give up. We will not give up on your children. And we may be worrisome. I promise you, I understand. But it's only because, as Judge Giles has just clearly articulated, it's only because we genuinely care about every one of these children. So we're going to continue to call. We're going to continue to knock on your doors, come outside and blow the horns. We're going to do all of that until we can get our children all logged in, until we can get them back in our building. So again, thank you all. Thank you for your time. And if you have any questions about attendance, about whether your child is attending, please just reach out to your child's home school. Thank you all and have a safe night. Be safe.